Morning, everybody. I hope you're all having a terrific weekend. We're into week 4 right now of Introduction to Criminal Justice. I just want to touch on a couple of things real quick. I had an opportunity over the last week or so to review your journal entries and your discussion board topics. I got to say, they were absolutely amazing. You did such a fine job on both, and these are the kinds of contemporary things that I really want to start focusing on. What I would like you be able to do too is look at some of the samples that I provided relative to both of those issues. In the week 3 content folder, you'll notice that there's a new item in that folder relative to the New Hampshire Drug Monitoring Initiative. It talks about the number of overdoses that the state has been able to, or unfortunately has been able to, handle and collect data on, as well as the number of Narcan administrations. And it's broken out, as you can tell, by different data sets, including countywide as well as statewide information. That is a material data set that we get every month from the state. I've also included a copy of UCR sample, NIBR sample, and the latest bulletin from the Bureau of Justice Statistics on the National Crime Victimization Survey. Those are in the resources, samples, used for class folder under content and assignments. You'll see that that's actually highlighted in green. So take a few minutes to look at both of those so you get a better idea of what it is that we're referring to when it comes to not only data, but some of the more contemporary issues that we're trying to focus on. That piece about the National Crime Victimization Survey is kind of important because, again, it does refer to that dark figure of crime. And remember, when we're trying to paint that crime picture, we want to use all available data that we can actually tap into to get a better idea of what it is that's affecting us individually as police departments and how to allocate our resources, as well as our communities and what fears that they have regarding the crime problems and trends that they start seeing. This week, we're going to talk about the readings from the chapter 3, Criminal Law. We're going to speak specifically in our journal entry about the not guilty by reason of insanity defense or guilty but mentally ill defenses. So I want your thoughts on that after you've done the reading. We're also going to have a quiz on Chapter 3, which will be available after Wednesday morning. Again, on the quiz issue, don't forget to make sure that you have enough time to complete it in one sitting. There's a time limit on it, and once that time limit's reached, it's over and done with. So don't think that you can just start it and come back to it later on. And as far as the discussion boards and journal entries, don't forget to meet the minimum requirement of that 250 to 300 word requirement for each one of your posts. So this week, like I said, we're going to be talking about criminal law, really just scratching the surface about the whole criminal law piece. But it gives us a better idea about what it is that we're trying to do from a criminal justice perspective when we apply the law in all realms of the criminal justice process. So we're going to talk about purpose of laws, what it really means to have a rule of law in our country, for example, that is based upon the Constitution. And we're going to talk about categories of crimes: felonies, homicides, misdemeanors, violations. They actually refer to violations in the chapter reading as offenses, and conspiracies or inchoate or partial crimes, and treason and espionage. Those are the kinds of things that we'll be chatting about a little bit and that you'll be doing some reading on. We're also going to talk about some very important Latin terms, things that you really need to focus on and remember: the actus reus and mens reus, or the guilty act and the guilty mind. What is exactly the book and the chapter reading referring to? And those are specific to the corpus delicti, another Latin term that you probably should remember. The corpus delicti refers to the body of the crime, not the actual body in a homicide, for example, but the elements of the criminal act. What constitutes a criminal act? Remember, for a criminal act to be criminal, we've got to have an act that was produced as a result of somebody performing that act. And we'll also talk about specific defenses, alibis, justifications, and excuses, and how those are considered proper when properly brought to the attention of the courts. So we're going to talk a lot about these types of things this week. We also have on the syllabus, I think you'll see, a field trip to the Merrimack Police Department. I'm not going to hold you to that if that's something that you don't have time to do. I know this is an online class, but I wanted to throw it out there as an opportunity for any of you to take part and participate in. If that's the case, reach out to me individually, and I'll make sure that we set up some time where you can come in, meet with me, and we can take a walk through the PD so I can give you a better idea about what our operations are. So moving forward, we got a lot to cover in this first part of criminal law. We'll be touching on criminal law, the second part next week, but this will give you kind of a leg up, if you will, into where we're moving for the next couple of weeks in this semester's reading and topic coverage. So if you have any questions, certainly reach out to me. Otherwise, have a great week, and we'll be seeing you next weekend.